Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday Special. This is going to be episode 11, and we're going to do something completely different here on the Sunday Special, as you've probably gotten used to each week. It's not our normal podcast, and this one is no exception. We're going to be diving into the world of Persona 5 Royal, and I got a chance to play it last night, and I've got my thoughts, but in true unique fashion, we're going to be talking with Mr. Dalton Bigshoots himself, a longtime listener of the podcast and someone who I've become a friend with over Facebook. So this will be the first time we've actually spoken, and he's been in it for a few days now since it's come out. As of this recording, it's Friday, so coming out on Tuesday. He's got a few more days under his belt than I do, and it's got a little bit further into the story. We're going to be talking about some of the changes from the original release, and more importantly, asking the big question of, is it worth another $60 purchase? And hopefully by the end of the podcast, we'll be able to give you a definitive yes or no question. So just full disclosure, I wasn't planning on getting this game, at least initially, but as supplies were limited, I did decide to go ahead and pick it up, and after playing it last night, I'm very, very glad that I did. So we'll have a fun conversation, and hopefully you'll get some insight into what's going into this game, what you've got to be looking forward to, as well as whether or not you need to try to pick one up yourself or not. So let's take a quick break and have a word from Anchor, and we'll get into the interview here in just one moment. All right, everybody. I hope you're ready. We are set and ready to go. I've got Dalton on the line. So, Mr. Bigshoots, why don't you say hello to the world?
Hello, everybody. How you doing today?
That was very formal. I was expecting something a little more rock and roll, but we'll take it.
Well, I got to keep it. I'm trying to keep it clean for your audience. I know how things go around here.
We do appreciate that, of course. I've had, luckily we have editing software, so in case either one of us skips up, it's okay.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better because this game gets me pumped, man. So I'll do my best.
It does, and if you listen to Ryoji for any amount of time, you're going to pick up a few bad words.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about that last night when I was playing. I'm like, man, this dude's got a foul mouth. Like,
well, and that is his. Before you know his name, that is what it's. Foul mouth boy, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
That was one of my questions. We'll go ahead and answer that one. Does he curse more than before, or is it just like you just noticed it right away?
I think I just noticed it more now that I know the character a bit more. Mm-hmm. When I first played Persona, like when I met Ryuji for the first time, I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be like the bro character. But once I know him, I was like, oh, okay, it's just kind of how he is. But they might have added a few extras in there because it seems like he cusses a lot.
It really does. Like, obviously, I've got parent mode on at all times, and like there was one point when it was every other sentence, and so I'm like, oh gosh, make sure the kid's still asleep. But
yeah, absolutely.
But it's his character, so I mean they're faithful to it.
Yeah. Now I'm going to ask you a question since you said that you started a little bit, and I don't want to trump on anything you've got, but what did you think of the changes for the beginning of it?
I honestly, it's like, the first time it hits you in the very beginning, when Kasumi shows up, it's like, oh, okay. And they kind of work it in there really well, I thought.
Yeah, I thought so too. And what an introduction for that girl.
Oh, man. Like, I don't know if you feel the same way, but she steals your heart kind of right away, doesn't she?
Absolutely, man. She came in there blazing, and I was like, oh, all right. Yeah, let's get it, girl. Let's destroy some stuff.
And, we knew it was coming because she's in the opening cinematic. They reworked that perfectly. And, she's in the opening sequence. So, and then I got to a point where you bump into her in the subway.
Yes, yeah. And at that point, I was like, oh, my God. Okay, so this girl is super sweet.
Like almost too sweet, but
Almost.
that's okay.
Yeah, almost. It's like I felt like if you needed a jacket, she would give it to you and just shiver.
Oh, absolutely. Like when in this, not to ruin the scene, but she definitely does something that's ultra nice thing for a young person to do,
Yeah, absolutely.
and in typical Persona fashion, they kind of spin it. But yeah, that was my first impression. I thought Alice has done an incredible job of just you wouldn't even know it. They just weave her into the story perfectly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If people are coming in and Royal is their first experience with it, it's seamless. Like you wouldn't even know it wasn't there.
Oh yeah, and I mean, you definitely do not have to have played Persona 5 in order to play Royal. And I think
Mm.
actually, if you didn't, then you're getting what seems to be the definitive experience for it.
Yeah, I read a headline that said Persona 5 Royal is the definitive experience of an already perfect JRPG. And I was like,
It's hard to argue against that.
yeah, it really is, man. I was like, what a good way to put it.
I mean, the only fault our listeners will know this. My only fault with the entire game was that it was actually too long. So I mean, this is going to add to that, but
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, well, they didn't help you in that aspect, but
not at all. I think I was at 120 hours the first time. Do you remember how long it took for you?
oh man, okay. So with added in that when I was playing through it, I had dental surgery, so there's a few hours in here of me just falling asleep randomly because of medications, but it was about 197,
That's
a lot.
that's ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
even by JRPG standards, that's ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely. But I spent a lot of time in mementos.
Yeah. So did you get to the point of platinum? Are you that kind of gamer?
Dude, I thought about it, and then by the time I had decided, all right, I'm going to play through it again and get platinum, Royal had been announced. So I
Okay.
was like, I'm just going to wait and I'll just platinum Royal. It might take me a little more, but
I can't imagine how long it would take to do this. Like it's a
uh,
monster game just to beat, so the platinum would be insane.
yeah, I should have thought about it. One of my friends, I think he is a friend on the JRPG page as well, Taylor, he has beaten and platinum the whole game. And I need
Oh
to
my.
ask him how long it took him because I know it took at least two playthroughs, which that in
That's the
itself,
hard part. Yeah.
ooh, that's a long time. Now, I do think
See,
it's cool with,
go ahead.
oh, sorry, the new game plus that your skills carry over. So you don't have to raise up your guts and all of that again. You can just
Mhm.
focus on confidence. But still, that's another 100 hours, man.
At least, yeah. Even with that added bonus to it, that would be extreme to say the least. So, I mean, I'm not that kind of gamer anyway, and I rarely play through things more than once. So, I just don't. I don't envision me doing anything close to that.
It takes a special game for me to want to play through it again. But like, I'll tell you the same thing I've told everybody. I have refused to spoil Persona 5 for anyone. So like, you were the first person I've talked to about it. But like, there are moments in this game when I was playing through it on the first time that I cried.
Mm.
There was a time that I literally stood up and applauded at my TV alone in a room like a crazy person. Like I was so invested in this game, it was insane. And just now with all this added stuff, I am just in heaven over here.
That's awesome. So, would you say is it your favorite JRPG so
Absolute.
far?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Uh, it was Final Fantasy VIII for a long time. I know that's controversial, but whatever. And dude, I played Persona at the recommendation of Dan over from Factory Sealed, and I just
Hmm.
blew my mind, dude. And I was like, "What is this?" Immediately went checked out Persona 4, Persona 3, Persona 2.
Okay, that was my next question. Is if this was your first, if you went back and played, or what was the
Yeah,
order on it?
this was my first Persona game, and I was immediately just like, "What have I been missing my entire life?"
I dare say, I've often said I think most people probably came in on four or on golden, and then five was kind of up in the ante. But if I had to choose, I'd actually say golden was just a little bit better. But now Royal may kind of change that opinion as well.
Yeah, yeah, and see, I have tried my hardest to get a hold of Golden, but that is the one Persona game that I can't seem to get because I don't have a Vita, and that's the only place to play it.
Yeah, it's not on Steam, right?
No, it's not on, none of the Persona games are on Steam, actually. Atlas has this thing for not releasing their major games on PC, so they can't be pirated, which I can't really fault them for.
No, I can't. But you're talking about games that, especially like with Vita. I mean, its lifespan is pretty much over. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the holdup is with that. Unless, and I have speculated on this as well. I think we're going to get some sort of Persona HD collection at some point with 3 and 4.
Oh, take all of my money.
I know, right? I would so love it. As kind of a filler in between, well, this game is out, and then we got Scramble, but
Yeah,
until that next big thing, I can definitely see that coming along.
I would love to see that. Maybe like an HD release of 3 and 4, and then maybe do like what they did with Trials of Mana for like the original Persona or something, just to bring it back up, because I know the original Persona is a little hard to go back to. I've tried.
Yeah, I think 1 and 2 would be really hard to play.
Yeah.
The graphics just don't hold up over time.
Yeah, and look, the graphics are different. It's what threw me was that it's isometric.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, oh, all right, I haven't played a game like this in years. Let's go for it.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I figured we'd get off topic at least a little bit. But that is the way it goes with these games. You start talking.
Yeah.
You mentioned Kasumi, and the other thing that I did notice was, like, when you're walking down the hallway, some of the students kind of talking about the new honor exchange student. I guess that's referencing her, right?
I would assume that that's her.
Okay.
I figured that's kind of how they're working her into the background lore, as I call it, with all the chatter.
What were some of the other kind of changes that you kind of picked up on? I think I saw a couple, but what kind of stood out in your mind?
The first thing I noticed is when you unlock your persona as Joker. I remembered, and this was killing me because I was like, man, I uninstalled the original Persona 5 because I wanted to load it up and check. I believe in the original Persona, it didn't cut to the anime scene when he gets his our scene. I could be wrong.
I think you're right.
But in this version, it cuts to the scene from the anime, which they did really well. I remember watching the anime and being like, wow, they animated this guy getting his persona. Very, very cool. And they put that in there. So I've started, in fact, one of my notes is scenes from the anime with a question mark. It's like, I think that they've added in more animated scenes, which I'm all for, because they did a really good job at it.
They absolutely add in a lot more just in what I saw in the first 2.5 hours or so. And I guess I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. That would have been from the anime itself. That makes sense. They didn't have to make a new asset.
Yeah. Yeah, because when I saw that scene, immediately clicked in my head, and I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Those are just the coolest scenes, maybe in the whole movies, is when that first time when that persona comes out, they rip the mask off, and a little bit of blood involved. It's kind of wild, but man,
oh yeah,
so cool.
I'm always like, God, I wonder how bad that hurts. Like, wow.
Oh, there's probably no pain like that. Just ripping the face off, basically.
Yeah. One of the other things I noticed was that the normal battle music is different. It goes between Last Surprise and then whatever this new song is. And, I'm a big music guy, so I was immediately like, oh, new song, new music. What is this?
It is that, I thought I wrote down the new song, but it's definitely a new one. And I really like it. I'm kind of glad they did, because you hear that song more than anyone, maybe in the entire game. So
yeah. When I have a buddy of mine whose son I turned on to this game, and he was like, I thought I would get tired of, because he was playing the original. He said, I thought I would get tired of Last Surprise, but every time it comes on, I'm just dancing and singing to it. I'm like, yeah, I did that for 190 hours, man.
Yeah, they do. Persona is just, gosh, that music in every game.
Yeah,
it
man.
Never gets old somehow.
They somehow make it great every time. It's amazing to me.
I don't see how they do it, because, yeah, like I said, that is something all throughout the series that you remember the music as much as the characters and the gameplay. It's all into that perfect package of
Absolutely. Like I was telling you before we went on air, that I've even got the soundtrack on my PC, and I'll play that, listen to that playing stuff that's not even Persona related. So
when you get a game with some crappy music, just put on the good Persona.
exactly.
I definitely I felt like there was just kind of that overall layer of polish. Do you have a PS4 Pro or are you just playing the regular?
Just the regular.
Okay, so I've got the Pro, and of course I got the 4K TV, so I definitely noticed the difference.
Yeah, then I was going to ask you. I know it's been up-resed and made to be PS4 pretty or PS4 Pro pretty. So I was going to ask you how it is if you had one.
It absolutely is. Like it hasn't been that long since I played Part 5, and I think I even loaded it up about a year ago, and the changes are noticeable. It's like anything else. When you go up res, you're definitely going to notice just the crispness, no longer the blurries. The little thing that I noticed the most is when you're in the first palace and you first meet Morgana, and he runs away. Like there's the little swirly trails, like cartoon effect of him running away.
Yeah.
Like the Roadrunner, and I was like, did I just not notice that before, or could I not? Could my TV not, show that? What was the deal?
I'm not sure, but there are little things like that I've noticed that I've wondered if they've added in. Because I mean, I can see some things on my TV. Now, I will say, I didn't see little swirlies, so that could be the 4K coming through strong.
Okay. It kind of just looks like a cloud, but yeah, if you got the resolution, you can tell. Yeah, that's the only thing I can equate it to is when the Roadrunner's running away from Coyote. That's the same, like.
Yeah, I got it. Little poof. But this will go into another thing that I noticed that's kind of a change as far as the battles go. And I hope this isn't a spoiler. I wouldn't think it is, but Baton Pass, no longer a confidant skill.
Oh, really?
They just, like, Morgana will be like, hey, by the way, you can do this. And you just get it. And the way it works is, if you get a baton pass, the first person you pass it to gets a little bit stronger, as it did in the last game. And you can do your move. If you can baton pass then to a third person, it builds again. And every time you're doing this, there's like a circle of flame underneath the character that gets a little bigger, but it's all red, like the Persona red, you know what I mean? But if you can get,
so that's definitely new then.
Yeah, and if you can get the pass all the way to the fourth person, your fourth person can act without any SP or HP at all. So like their move is free.
That's fantastic.
Oh, bro, I cheered my TV. I was like,
that sounds like it's actually worth doing then.
Yeah, it definitely is, because there's been moments. I'll go ahead and skip ahead just a little bit. I got lost in Kamoshida's Palace last night for like an hour, trying to find the second eye for that one statue, and I'm just like, where? And it was in a new place. Didn't think to try to look up, but I was battling stuff, and that baton pass really came in handy.
That's funny because I feel like I didn't really use baton pass all that much in the first one, and it sounds like they give you more of an incentive and you want to do it this time.
Yeah, and you don't have to wait to unlock it. Like, it's ready to go pretty much within the first couple fights. Well, I think you have to get on first, but
okay, yeah, you need.
Yeah, I think you need the 4 people.
Okay, the 4 people. That makes sense. Did you get to the point to check out? Have you gotten to Showtime yet?
I have not gotten Showtimes. I am looking forward to that, though.
Yeah, that's obviously a brand new feature. It's like where 2 of them kind of team up and do a special attack. If I'm correct.
Yeah. Let me look on this note thing right here. Yeah, they call them tag team super moves, which I'm all about.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I can't. That's one of the new things that I'm greatly looking forward to. I guess you didn't get much of the grappling hook either.
I used the grappling hook in Kamoshida's place quite a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's how cool is that?
Yeah, that's one of my notes, is that Kamoshida's palace is laid out differently. Like, there's some rooms that are still the same, but there's a few rooms that are new. And you'll know when your grappling hook is ready to go, because it'll start like pulsing on your hand. Excellent. And when you see that, just start looking around for somewhere to tell you to press L1.
Okay. I knew that in addition to, there is one completely new palace. I knew that they had changed the layout, obviously, to make use of the grappling hook a little bit better, but to kind of keep it, fresh and not people like, okay, I know exactly how to run through this thing. I'm going to do it right quick.
Oh yeah, because I was expecting like, okay, I'm just gonna breeze through this game. No, not really. Like I said, I got lost for an hour.
I feel like even with the very beginning, going to LeBlanc, like I had no clue how to get there. I was like, I've done this a million times. Surely I know how to get home, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like pulling up my map and I don't see anything. I'm like, I end up at like the bath wash place, and I was like, no, this is not not it. I did notice in the very first scene, you do see like the doctor lady. What's her name?
Oh. Takumi.
I don't want to ruin it too. Yeah, I don't want to ruin it too much. She's a character in part 5. She just gently walks right past you, and you don't notice her, and you would have no reason to the first time you don't know who she is.
Yeah.
Um, that kind of effect, and they definitely said that they introduced Haru or Huru. How do you say her name?
Haru.
Yeah, like she's in there. You can go and talk with her in the opening little bits, and I think they.
I did not know that.
Yeah, right when you first get control of him, like that first day, she's standing outside. Before you go to the rooftop, she's right there. You can talk to her.
Oh, I did not. I walked right by her then. Now I did notice.
I don't even know why I did. Yeah.
There was one of the little cutscenes where you're kind of just walking with the crowd. I think Ryuji was talking to me or something, and I noticed walking behind me was An and Shiho, just there.
Oh, really?
And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Like,
that is cool. I wonder if that was, I wonder if that's one of the things they added.
It's got to be, because I feel like I would have noticed that, but then again, maybe not. I don't know. That's the thing about this type of thing is I'm like, oh, I need all the comparisons.
Yeah, and I think of a game this size, it would be really difficult to have known if that was there the first time because you didn't know those people.
Yeah,
so it wasn't quite the thing.
Now, did you get up to the point where you were doing any battles?
Yeah, like I am to the palace the second time, and I kind of was like, I was falling asleep, so I had to stop.
Okay, now, tell me if I'm wrong. I believe they added in this one too. Morgana asked me if I wanted to control my party members or just let them do their own thing.
See, I immediately tried to change that to where I could control them, and I'm guessing that's going to start when I'm booted up tonight, because that first time through, you definitely could not. He acts on his own.
Yeah, so I told him, yeah, I'd like to tell you what to do, and he's like, no problem. And then from then on, it plays like I normally did. But I was thinking, I'm like, oh, so did they add this where you could play the whole game like Persona 3 and just like let your party members do their thing?
I can't imagine anybody would want to do that.
Me neither, but I mean, I guess it's a cool option. Like maybe there's a trophy for playing through the game like that or something.
I guess I would imagine that would lead to immediate defeat very quickly.
Yeah. With my experience with AI in video games, it probably doesn't go well.
Like it barely worked in 3, and that was probably more of a limitation of the software at the time rather than anything that you want to do nowadays.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, I definitely searched through all the options. I was going to the configuration. I was like, "There's got to be a way for me to control this guy. It's killing me."
Yeah, you'll get to a point where he'll ask you, and you just tell him like, "Yeah, do what I tell you," and he'll be like, "Okay."
Quit summoning your persona every time. You're using up all your MP.
Yeah, right. You only need to whack it. It's got 2 health.
You've got a giant sword. You can't hit
it. One thing that's a quality of life change that I have noted that I was very happy about: bullets replenish after every battle.
Oh man, that's because you don't even use your gun because you couldn't the first time. You ran.
Yeah, dude. I had this conversation with my mom of all people. I was like, "Listen, you don't understand how excited I am about this." I was like, I would go through and meticulously, okay, I can only shoot this, this, and this. I'm like, now I am just unloading clips into things. Bah, 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 bah.
I can only imagine that conversation with your mother, but yeah.
Oh yeah, and she was just smile and nod. She had no idea what I was talking about. Just smile and nod.
Do we need to say a special happy birthday to your mom?
Oh yeah, we could do that. Happy birthday, mother.
We assume that she's listening to this, right?
Oh, I'm sure she will be. Yeah. I have to do the classic nerd thing and say hi, mom.
Well, of course, that's what you should do every time.
Exactly.
And maybe by the time that we're to this, it'll be my mom's birthday in a couple days. So happy birthday, mom!
Happy birthday to your mom as well.
That's awesome, dude. Thank you. The one thing I wanted to kind of bring up, it definitely seems like it loads up faster. We were talking about enhancements and differences. I think that's a part of the Pro as well, but like everything seems super fast. Even the initial install was very fast. I didn't hardly notice it. People are because we're trying to build a case, if you guys haven't noticed, as to is this game worth it or not, and we'll make a final judgment at the end. But I think that's all adding up to. I mean, in every way, shape, and possible, it seems like it's better.
Oh yeah, dude. It seems like they took a polished piece of gold and just made it platinum.
Oh yeah. So
like it's fantastic.
I want to ask you some fun questions now. And
yeah,
this
go
is
for
not
it.
just necessarily what you've played so far, but where you go. Like when you get the choices for answers, are you like what the actual answer should be? Are you the funny guy? Are you the wrong answer guy? Where do you usually lean on those?
It honestly, it depends on the situation. I kind of answer them how I would if I were having this actual conversation with somebody. So, like, given the circumstance, if it requires a sarcastic answer, I will give that one. But more often than not, I try to play the good guy.
Okay. All right. So we're in the same boat. I can't help it to do it that way.
Yeah, I can't be mean to people, even if they're not real. Like, unless the game is specifically like you are the villain type thing, then I'm like, I'm just gonna be the good guy.
I think this game gives you more options than other games to kind of play how you are, but yeah, I can't help it always being. I'll do anything I can to help you. Sure, I'll sign my life away. Sure, let me do whatever I can.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What was your party typically looking like? Obviously, right now you don't have a choice, but and I don't think we're ruining too much. People should know some of the characters by now, but.
Oh yeah, because it would only include the ones that I would know about. I would obviously Joker, Yusuke,
Okay.
Ryuji, and Makoto.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I fell in love with Makoto and kept her in my party the entire game.
I think that answers my other question. That was your girl, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'd have married her if I could.
I'd have stopped her.
I got a thing for smart girls, man.
Older girls, that's what you go for.
Yeah.
No, I was the same way. I think she was kind of the obvious choice for the girlfriend. It definitely once she's in the party.
I'm thinking about trying to switch it up this time.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
But I don't know if I'll be able to. I'll try. I just know.
I don't know how I'm going to go.
It won't be.
She just seems like that's too easy.
Yeah, man, she's like the perfect choice. I told my buddy, I said, I would have to be. I might go for the chess player chick without spoiling too much about her, 'cause she's later in the game. But other than that, I don't know. Maybe.
I feel like I want to try on, and I think like I feel like Atlas, when they made this game for Western audience, it's like, okay, here's on, here's every American's like dream, right?
That's exactly how I felt about it. I was like, all right, so here's
put her in leather, and it's like,
yeah,
really,
with the zipper down a little too far, it's
high school,
it's the blonde hair. Yeah, she's the blonde bombshell, and that's immediately why I was like, wow, well, okay, she's just gonna be a friend. That's what I'm used to.
She's too pretty. She's gonna be a friend.
Yeah, no.
It's funny because I don't know of anybody who actually picked her. It's like every board ever, it's like that's the last person that people went for.
Yeah, when I first met Futaba, I was like, oh, this chick's really cool, and then I realized how like the age she was at in the game, and I'm like, oh, friend.
Can't do that.
Yeah, friend. I thought she was a nerdy chick, but she's a nerdy young chick.
Like,
nope. Friend.
I mean, you're basically a junior in high school. Is that kind of I'm not sure how it works.
I think I was doing math in my head, and I think you're like 17.
Yeah, and so
yeah, I think it would be a junior.
14, I believe, in the game.
maybe 14 or 15, something like that. Yeah.
Too young. But whatever it is, it's way too.
Yeah. They didn't make that apparent quite at first. I mean, once it became apparent, I was like, oh no.
Can't go there. No, that's funny.
But there are plenty of other choices.
There are, and that's just, people in your party. Like you said, there's definitely options outside of it as well. I'm not sure if they added more than that or not,
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I've been trying to not look up too much about the newer stuff that's been added other than just kind of quality of life things. But I think I saw that there's at least two new confidants.
I know the one is the counselor at the high school. You'll probably meet him fairly early on.
Yeah, and I believe that the other is Kasumi. So, but other than those, I'm not really sure. There's always the Maid. Without giving too much away, you could always go for the Maid.
If you wanted to play that card, you could go there. Yeah, I felt bad for her, but it was never like even really an option.
Yeah, I always felt bad. I'm like, man, why do you have to do this on the side? Oh, and then all that. We won't get into that, but
going too much. But I kind of got everything that I had in my head. Was there anything else that kind of you wanted to throw out there?
I've got a couple notes. Did you notice that you can now take screenshots?
No. That makes sense. I was streaming it, so I would imagine screenshots should be fun. I didn't see any blocked scenes either.
Yeah, me either. But I remember playing through the first one. Oh my goodness! If I accidentally hit that button, it always popped up. Cannot take screenshots. Yeah,
there was all kinds of streaming rules about the first time as well. So I guess those are all
off. I guess the only other thing I really have to add is that just one more quality of life thing is when you go to interrogate a shadow, Morgana will mention like, "Hey, this one seems upbeat, so try to be nice to it," or something like that, which saves me a lot of time of having to look to see what it is.
Like it was pretty much just a guess on most of those, and led to having to do it multiple times more than anything else. So that's helpful.
And have you seen anything about will seeds? Because if not, then I don't want to get super into them.
I saw one video about it, and that is some of the stuff is in Mementos, right?
No, they're actually in the palaces.
Is that for the extra treasures or the new ones?
Yeah, it's like there's 3 will seeds. Once you find them, you get an item for it.
So you guys search and find those in each palace. Excellent.
And I think that's going to be the majority of the newer areas.
Okay.
But it will walk you through in Kamoshida's palace. It'll walk you through finding all 3 of them and kind of introduce you to how you'll be looking for them and things like that.
They may not hold your hand so much for the sake
of time. Yeah, I'm assuming not. I'm assuming once you're done with the first palace, they're like, have fun.
You are just about to get into Mementos, though, right? And that is with
yes.
We didn't talk about the new character Jose, who shows up in that.
Yes, I'm interested in this character because he's a vendor.
He's a vendor and has apparently all kinds of good stuff, which makes Mementos even more appealing than it did before.
Yeah, this thing I've got pulled up says that Mementos now has a shop, which I would assume is run by Jose, with exclusive goods exchanged for flowers, which you find while exploring in Mementos.
Now, you said you spent a lot of time in there on the first one. Now,
yeah.
And maybe this is probably why they added somebody like Jose in the trailer. I didn't go in there more than I had to. Like, I didn't feel like there was a huge payoff for it.
No. I would just go in there and farm, and a lot of my time spent in there was because I was trying to get the personas that you had to like combine 5 to get.
Yeah, that's about the way to do it. Yeah.
And I just wanted to see what they looked like, so I'm like trying to get them. So that took a lot of going into Mementos and trying to find certain personas and catch them, and then fuse them with others. And I gave up on that eventually.
That's a tall task, to say the least.
Oh man, yeah, very tall.
It was randomly generated before, and I like that. idea, I think, but it kind of led to too many dead ends, and shadows would all be bunched up in one spot, or there'd be nothing, and you're just driving around aimlessly.
Well, according to Royal, it has now been expanded, and the floors are bigger, and there's more room for general exploration.
Huge plus, and you'll have to give us another weatherman report on how that actually turns out.
I absolutely will.
Very good. So,
because I will be diving into it probably when we get off here.
You got to get back to that, right?
Exactly.
I think that was So the big question, and I know people are going to be weighing this one, is I bought this game 3 years ago for $60. Is it worth $60 again today?
In my opinion, absolutely. But that's just because, like, I have a very strong, I guess I would say, relationship with this game. Like, when I first played it, it was a weird time in my life, and it really brought back a lot of feelings for me and emotion that was just like, man. So when I loaded up Royal and there was new stuff added to it and all of these quality of life improvements, that when I first played the first one, I was like, oh, this could be a little better, but I'll forgive it. It's like, it's better now.
Yeah, it's absolutely, they've taken all the feedback and just improved upon it.
I could not ask for more. I think if you bought the game 3 years ago, it's absolutely worth the money. If you've never played it, my goodness, you need to get it, because you are in for quite a ride.
Say, like, obviously today you can go out and get a brand new copy of 5 for $20 or less, and if that's all you got, that's all you got. But I would dare say, get that extra amount for all the extra, especially if you've got a pro. I think this is by far the way to go. I
for sure.
That you may have to explain this to your significant other, who, as soon as I got the game, my wife was like, "Don't you already have this game?" So you may have to do some selling and or bargaining as far as that goes.
But you get the bonus little DLC thing for having Persona 5 save data.
And all your DLC will carry over if you put a bunch of money into it before. I'm not sure exactly how you haven't done that far yet. The way I explained it was, the first game was like the theatrical release of Lord of the Rings movies, and this is like the special edition of them.
That's the perfect way to put it.
So much added to it, and if you love it, you're going to love all the extra stuff.
Yeah, and I could not recommend it more.
I don't think we could sell it any harder, and we're not getting any money for this. So,
yeah, right. Atlas, call us
back at us. We're doing our best. But all right, Dalton, I think we're going to wrap this thing up. Thank you so much for talking to us, and I hope people like the sound of your voice, because we may have you back on again at some point.
That would be awesome, man. And I want to leave you on a question. Isn't it quite funny that we're named Joker and they gave us a grappling hook like Batman?
There's a little bit of irony to that maybe even the Japanese understand, but yeah.
All right, brother. I appreciate you having me on, man.
We'll talk to you later. All right, man. All right. Peace out.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody. That's it for this episode of the JRPG Report, episode 11 of the Sunday Special. Big thanks to Dalton for joining us, and I do apologize for the up and down audio. We were trying out Anchor's messaging and chat feature, and you heard Dalton just fine. I was a little bit soft, so we just had to kind of perk your ears up a little bit. And but hopefully you enjoyed our conversation, and hopefully it has encouraged you to want to get out and pick up Royal if you can find it. And if not, then maybe as soon as you can. But this is going to do it for the JRPG Report. I hope you have enjoyed it. Don't forget to give us a like on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, and if you are so inclined to sign up for listener support, that would be incredibly awesome of you. We'll sign off for now, but don't forget, get back out there and level up.